Tomorrow, a brewery in Hartford will host a benefit to raise money and awareness of a rare disease affecting a child who has ties to the community.
Sarah McFarland is originally from Hartford, but now lives in Wisconsin. It was a process to figure out what was wrong with her little boy. After months of testing, they finally have some answers. In tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, Carter Schmidt explains the child's rare condition.
Landry Anderson is the son of Sarah McFarland and Ethan Anderson. McFarland is a 2003 graduate of Tri-Valley High School and grew up in the Hartford area. For 14-month-old Landry, it's been a life full of tests and doctor's visits after something seemed off when he was only 4 months old.
He stopped gaining weight completely, but he looked pretty normal. So we found ourselves, taking him into the doctor all the time. He started having, episodes of projectile vomiting. So we'd be in the ER, they'd do tests, everything would come back negative, and they'd send us home.
This went on for a while until they concluded that Landry may have a protein intolerance, but problems continued and they landed in the hospital again.
And all sorts of tests, tests. And again, at the end of that stay, the doctor said, we've looked at nearly every organ in his body and we can't find anything wrong. Things
got worse. Landry started to have hypoglycemic episodes where his blood sugar would drop, and so they did some genetic testing.
It was just kind of a whirlwind of a summer trying to figure out what was going on with them. And very difficult too, in the sense that, everybody keeps telling you that your baby looks okay and that he's fine and that they can't find anything wrong, but deep down you kind of know something's wrong.
Landry was diagnosed with congenital disorders of glycosylation, or CDG, specifically PMM2 CDG. The condition affects how sugar building blocks are added to proteins in cells of the body. David Pierce, president of Sanford Research, says they partner with the Sanford Burnham Institute in California for research related to CDG.
Cells in our body are made up of 24,000 nuts and bolts, or proteins is what we call them. They're the things that make things hold together and function and communicate. Some of those genes modify or tell other genes or proteins what to do, and this is what congenital disorders of glycosylation have a defect in.
Pierce uses an analogy to explain how the disease affects the body.
If you put the key to a car in an engine to start the engine and all these things happen, if the key's not working, then it doesn't precipitate all these other things starting in the car. You could still push the car and it would move. That's not very effective, right? But you can't drive the car.
McDonald's says that some children born with CDG don't make it past their first year of life, and that many that do never walk or talk. It can also cause neurological issues, development delays, and complications with many of their organs. In little Landry's case, his doctor at Mayo Clinic tells the family this is one of the mildest cases of CDG they have seen.
Goodness gracious,
Right now, he does physical therapy 1 to 2 times a week to work on his motor skills.
Basically a lifetime of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. But for Landry, we've been lucky enough that he's on par with a lot of the things that he should be doing at this point. And we don't know if Landry, what his speech will look like once he gets older, but we're hoping that, that's mild as well.
But they just have to wait and see.
The hard thing about this condition is people can't tell you a lot about what to expect.
Landry is one of 350 people in the U.S. diagnosed with CDG. McDonald says doctors believe it's more prevalent than we know.
They think it's probably 1 in every 20 to 80,000. And if that's the case, if the math adds up, then there should be people in South Dakota that have it and just may not be diagnosed.
McDonald says there are no FDA-approved treatments for CDG, so all the money raised this weekend will go toward finding one. The family also wants to raise awareness so people don't have to go through the same struggle as they did.
If we could have gotten that done right away and pushed harder for that, it would have saved a lot of a hardship, as far as time in the hospital, time away from our daughter, time away from work. It still would have been hard to get that diagnosis, but I think the most challenging part was just when we didn't have an answer.
With Eye on KELOLAND, I'm Carter Schmidt.
What a sweet family. Love the name Landry, too. The benefit is tomorrow at Buffalo Ridge Brewing in Hartford from 5 until 9 in the evening. It will include a beanbag tournament, silent auction, live music, and more. If you'd like to donate to the cause, there's also a link to do so attached to this story on KELOLAND.com.